Welcome to my channel. Let me take you back to the days when this river ran with wine and the deserts bloomed at sunset. This is the tale of Osiris, the god of the afterlife and king of the underworld. But if you ask any god, he'd tell you there's only one true king of the Nile, and that's him. So join me as we count down our top 5 favorite moments from the most dramatic god in the pantheon. Starting off our countdown at number 5 is Osiris, the drama king. It's actually impossible to talk about Osiris without mentioning his brother Set, because they're basically the definition of frenemies. These two brothers had everything in common. They had the same parents, the same godly powers, and they ruled over Egypt together. So why does Osiris's name come with a Y? Because deep down, he always felt threatened by his little brother. And that's putting it lightly. I mean, look at this guy. He literally goes out of his way to start arguments with Set, and no one even knows why. But to be fair, though, Set probably doesn't help matters by insulting his brother's wife, Isis. If she's not careful, next thing you know, she's gonna grow another head. And Osiris has been trying to get her to calm down. But honestly, sometimes you just can't reason with people. You know what I mean? You're chilling with your squad, minding your own business, and suddenly someone yells at you for no reason. What do? You go ham. Duh. But this time, Osiris was prepared because he had an ace up his sleeve, and this ace happened to be made of tree. The story goes like this. One day, Set sneaks into his workshop, steals a tree trunk, and carves it into a perfect coffin. Then he waits until Osiris takes a nap, yeets him inside and seals the lid. And before he could even say, "Let me go," Set was like, "Surprise, bro," and then he pushed that coffin off a cliff. Now, some versions of the myth say he threw the coffin into the river, but I'm going with the cliff version because it just feels more cinematic. And don't worry, we'll get to the happily ever after part later. Coming in at number 4 is Set, Egypt's first villain. Now, I mentioned this before, but Set's behavior is beyond unhinged. Like, is this guy even real? I mean, Osiris was probably just taking a quick snooze, right? And even if he wasn't, what kind of person throws their sibling in a box and leaves them to die? Well, apparently, the kind who takes great pleasure in seeing other people suffer. So once Set confirmed that Osiris wasn't coming back, he did something even more sinister. Get this, he chopped his body into pieces and sent them on a national tour across Egypt. Yeah, he threw Osiris's organs in different cities like, "Take that, Byblos. Oh, and here's your liver, Sidon. Haha, Sidon, you can't reach me." And this would have been less tragic if Osiris was a famous actor or something. But I'm sorry. I just can't picture him doing meet and greets with fans and signing autographs. You know, he's a god, not a celebrity. So that means he could feel pain, anger, and sadness. And all Set was doing was adding fuel to his power. Like, you know, the villain origin story trope, right? Classic example. But there was one person who wasn't having it. Isis was furious when she heard about what her husband had become, body parts scattered all over the place. Like, couldn't Set just respect the drip and leave him be? But no matter how mad she was, she had to put on her detective hat and find every piece of Osiris. And that's exactly what she did. With her trusty GPS, she flew around Egypt looking for her man's liver, heart, eyes, and even genitals. But thankfully, she didn't have to search far because Set was too cocky to hide the evidence properly. For example, he left the phallus in the marshes of the Delta region, which was guarded by 2 evil demons. But hey, demons aren't that smart, so they fell for Isis's trick pretty easily. In fact, all the pieces came back to her without a hitch. So it was time to bring Osiris back to life and rule over Egypt once again. But before we get to that, for our number 3 spot, we have Ancient Glow Up. So now that Isis had collected all the body parts, she took them to a secret lab underneath a tamarisk tree. And just to be sure no one interrupted her, she placed a curse on anyone who dared enter the room. And the penalty was blindness. So when her sister Nephthys entered the room to check on her, Isis had to stop her with some hard truths. And yeah, those were some tough words to hear, but Nephthys understood and backed away slowly. But soon enough, word got around about Isis's resurrection. And I think you can guess who was first in line. That's right, Anubis, the Jack Russell Terrier god. Look, I know he looks cute, but he's also 200 pounds of pure muscle. And trust me, you don't want to make this guy wait. So he busted through the door and started helping immediately. Then Thoth showed up with his magic scales, and Horus arrived with some extra bandages. But Isis didn't need much help. She knew exactly what to do, and you gotta respect that. Sure, the surgery might not have been sterile or anything, but at least she didn't charge him for the operation. It was only 4000 BC, so all she asked for in return was for him to become the king of Egypt. Osiris must have thought that was fair, because he woke up and was like, sure, whatever. And you know what? That's actually a pretty good deal. Coming in at number 2 is Osiris on Cloud 9. The moment Osiris opened his eyes, he knew he was in the afterlife. I mean, sure, there was less sand, but everything else was perfect. There was an endless supply of food, flowers, and all his old friends who had passed on. But the cherry on top was getting to ride around in a golden boat pulled by 4 horses, 2 of each gender. And if that sounds familiar, well, that's because Hades also enjoyed the finer things in life. But Hades had to settle for a big black boat, so that made Osiris even luckier. But instead of feeling grateful, he acted like the whole thing was beneath him. And to be fair, he wasn't wrong. When you're the king of the underworld, you're supposed to ride in a golden boat. I mean, it's literally in the job description. And even though he's dead, he's still dressed in the finest clothes. In fact, he's sitting on a golden throne while wearing shades and sandals. Talk about drip. And we haven't even seen his sarcophagus yet. Trust me, it's decked out with jewels, gold, and velvet pillows. Honestly, it's the dream bedroom. But I gotta say, even though Osiris is chilling in the afterlife, he's still salty about what Set did to him. Finally, coming in at our number 1 spot is the comeback story of the year. If you're an OG viewer, you know that we love a comeback story. I mean, our channel is all about it. So when I tell you that Osiris's story was made for us, you better believe me. I mean, sure, he was a powerful god who had it all, but that didn't stop his brother from brutally murdering him and scattering his body all over Egypt. But did Osiris sit around and cry? No. He put his head in the game, got himself resurrected, and came back even stronger. That's dedication if I've ever seen it. And what's even more inspiring is that Isis brought him back without modern technology. I mean, it's hard enough finding someone's kidney stones nowadays. Imagine searching for your ex's heart in the middle of the desert, but somehow she managed. So I think it's safe to say that Osiris deserves all the recognition he gets. He's stylish, he's powerful, and he's got a loving wife who brings him back from the dead. I mean, come on, how can you hate this guy? Well, you can't. And that's why he's the ultimate comeback story. Respect the drip even in death. But now it's time to hear from you guys. Which god should we cover next? Let me know in the comments below. Then don't forget to follow so you never miss an upload. And with that said, I'll see you guys on the next episode. Oh, and remember, keep an eye out for mummies.